Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time we have unboxing of the Xiaomi 14 Pro. Let's get started. This device has just been presented globally, so we still don't know its launch price in Mexico, but we do know that it will officially arrive on October. So we will probably have the review available by then. I didn't promise, I said probably. So that we know its price, and based on its price we can make a more conscious analysis. For now, what do you think if we know it in conjunction with the contents of its box? That we anticipate that we could take a surprise because it is a thinner box than Xiaomi usually sends. And the first thing we come across is this second box or envelope that Xiaomi usually includes. Let's see what's inside here because it's an envelope that we can open little by little. For starters, we find the tool to remove the nano SIM card tray. And then notice that we will find the cable that is from USB-A to USB-C. But everything seems to indicate that it does not bring charger, since Xiaomi did not use to place the cable coiled in this way, much less in this area. But this is the cable that comes quite thick and highlighted in orange so you can easily recognize it. Then we are going to find the usual paperwork, the regulatory documentation, quick guide and simple things, so we're going to skip that. And finally we find a holster. The holster is completely solid, it doesn't have any kind of transparency, so that's going to keep it from turning yellow over time. But it seems to me that it's not going to look that attractive design in conjunction with the cell phone. At least that's the feeling I get, but in a moment we'll see what it looks like in place for you to tell me if you'd use it with a case or without a case. And then we meet the cell phone, where they already begin to highlight some features that the manufacturer wants to point out as more attractive points. For example, the Leica Sumilux lenses, a light fusion sensor that is a high-end sensor, although it is not from Sony but from its main competitor, OmniVision. Then we also find artificial intelligence functions. Here is detailed the processor, the refresh rate of the display, and the charging power along with the battery. But wait, it says it supports charging, but I don't know where the charger comes from. Well, we'll have to buy the charger separately, but it must be a charger fully compatible with this standard that Xiaomi uses. Because it doesn't use power delivery or Qualcomm quick charge or something like that. They have their own standard, so you must specifically buy a charger designed for this device. That's if you want to enjoy the fastest charging possible. Because maybe it does support other charging protocols, but it's not going to charge as fast as this device can charge. Let's take the device out of this packaging. And here we come directly to the cell phone, which, as you notice, in this case has a pretty clean aesthetic, although the camera module does not convince me in this square layout, but that's a matter of personal taste, nothing more. In this case, I have the Titan Grey edition. It also comes in Titan Blue and Titan Black. Then came the moment of truth. You tell me how you would use this device with a case where the camera module simply looks silver. The truth to me, I don't like how it looks one bit, because it only highlights the camera module, which is what I like the least about the cell phone. If we remove the case, it looks much nicer, more attractive. In fact, the touch is completely smooth and very nice. So personally, I would use it without the case, but let me know your opinion. Now it's time to get to know its specifications. It is 8.39 millimeters thick and weighs 209 grams. It also has IP68 level of resistance against water and dust. That's a very good thing because Xiaomi at one time was very resistant to put this level of resistance. Many even took it as a joke, but they are more and more Xiaomi devices with this level of resistance, which makes them much more attractive. In fact, we will find a metal frame to defend the device in a good way, and it also makes it feel much more upper mid-range device, where this series usually used to be placed. Now it feels more like a high-end entry-level device. The screen is 6.67 inches, as per Xiaomi standard. No, you know that's a joke, but it's just that many Xiaomi devices have the same size on their screen diagonal. We'll find 144 Hz in its refresh rate. It's also a 1.5K panel in its resolution. So it is able to show us a very high level of detail, at least superior to what Full HD screens show us, although it is not an abysmal difference. But it is always good to give us more than what we currently find in smartphones. Its peak brightness is 4000 nits, obviously when you're watching HDR content. And its dimming rate is 3840 Hz. So it's going to be a very comfortable display, even when you're using it at very low brightness, because the flicker is not going to fatigue your eyesight. The front camera is 32 megapixels with f-aperture 2.0 with fixed focus. So here you start to notice a little bit more that we're not talking about the top of the range yet. The preview still looked burnt. In this case, I forgot to disable the beauty mode, so on the right you see the end result. The beauty mode doesn't look so aggressive, it looks like it did keep the texture of the beard well. And notice that the texture of the clouds appears, because it was a completely cloudy day. However, the device was able to balance light and shadow well. And I think you notice that it does have a fairly high level of detail, so it's a device that can really come through very well for front-facing photography, despite not having autofocus. And on the back camera, we find Leica cameras. In this case, talking specifically about the optics, that is, the lenses that are placed here. First, there is the 15mm ultra-wide camera with a 12 megapixel sensor and f2.2 aperture, but with fixed focus, so it won't be usable for macro photography. Then there is the 23mm main camera with 50 megapixels. This is the camera that has the Light Fusion 900 sensor, which is OmniVision's high-end sensor, and in this case with f1.0 autofocus. And finally we find the 60mm telephoto camera. That's about 2.4x optical zoom, so it's not such a spectacular zoom, but it has a very good aperture f2.0. So it's got good light coming in. Plus obviously you will find autofocus as well, so that's the camera setup that we have on this device, and the flash is enclosed in this other circle, but obviously this is that I've seen. That have a good camera. The rest of the cameras for decoration. And then they still enclose the flash to make it look more attractive. At least that's the trend I've seen at the entry level. That's why I don't end up liking this design too much. However, you should know that it does have 3 very good cameras, and the flash that is positioned as if it were just another camera. But let's take a look at some results. There you are seeing the result with camera. I think it looks good quality. 15mm is not as wide a camera as we've seen from other manufacturers. However, I think the quality is good. Then there is the 23mm camera, which would be the main camera. As I say, it also shows good quality. And you should know that in the camera we are going to have the possibility to use the Leica Vibrant or Leica Authentic style. It depends on the color representation that you like. In this case, all the pictures you are looking at were taken with Leica Authentic, but in the review we will show some additional examples. So in Leica Authentic, as you can also see, the shadow areas are a little bit darker to make the contrast more pronounced. Now you're looking at the 46mm focal length, that's 2x zoom, where it seems to me that it does maintain optical quality. And then we jump to 60mm, which is already completely optical, unlike the previous photograph which was a crop on the sensor. So obviously we have good quality, and since it has a high resolution sensor, you can also apply a crop inside the sensor to have the focal length of 120mm and still maintaining optical quality. So at 5x zoom, the quality still looks very good. In fact, at 10x also the picture looks good quality. This is another picture I took at 10x zoom, and I honestly think the quality is very good. Look at the detail of the droplets on the leaves, and the maximum it reaches is 720mm, that is to say 30x. And I insist that the quality is very good. And in portrait photography, it also allows us to take good pictures, because it allows us to use different focal lengths. So from 23mm, then we can use 35mm. And I think it has a good foreground detection. Not 100% accurate, but enough to have good quality pictures. It lets us use the 60mm lens as well. And believe me, it was a pretty dark scene. So it was a complicated photograph, and the result is still nice. However, with the 75mm setting, oddly enough in this test, it gave me very little detail in the face. Notice that the face definitely has low detail. So I don't know why the result came out that way. But then I repeated this test in a setting with more lighting. And also with this 75mm setting, the result was good enough. But in the review, we will do more tests. The truth is that this generation, Xiaomi seems to have worked even more closely with Leica to improve this whole photographic engine, because the result is very good in terms of level of detail. And it seems to me that in this generation, they have also kept an honest zoom. Believe me, other manufacturers might say to you, I'll give you 60x with this same configuration or 100x, but in reality it is an exaggeratedly forced and poor quality zoom. In this case, Xiaomi, even though let's say it only has 30x zoom, Actually, at maximum, it still retains a very good quality. In those in video recording, note that we are also going to find two modes of color rendering. If you want the default or you want Master Cinema. With Master Cinema, HDR is disabled, so there's that to consider. Note that you're going to be able to record video in 4K at up to 30 frames per second as the maximum quality. That's if you have HDR turned on, but if you turn it off, you can go up to 60 frames per second, or you can go up to 8K at 30 frames per second. Although at this maximum resolution, you could only use the main camera, but at 4K at 60 frames per second, all lenses are available. Yes, and for the front-facing camera, we'll find 4K at 30 frames per second as the maximum resolution. This somehow does disappoint a bit because, as I say, it is a device that is already beginning to introduce you to the high end, so it would be much more attractive to see 4K at 60 frames per second in this front camera. Possibly the front camera is the one that may come up a little short, but I'll tell you more details in the review. The battery is 5000 mAh and supports 120 watt charging, although the charger you should buy separately, but it also supports 50 watt hypercharge wireless charging, but obviously you should also buy that compatible charger separately. The battery actually doesn't look that spectacular as other devices are starting to increase this capacity, but Xiaomi promises that this battery has good durability over time, so it supports 1600 charge cycles before the battery degrades to 80% of its capacity, so I think that's good. It has 12 GB of RAM plus 6 virtual. In this case, it doesn't let you turn off virtual RAM or anything like that, but with 12 physical gigabytes, believe me, this device is going to fly, even when you have a lot of apps open. It's actually LPDDR5X RAM, so it's the latest technology with the highest possible speed. And on the storage, there are several versions. It starts at 256 gigabytes, the second option is 512 gigabytes, and the one I have is 1 terabyte plus 32 gigabytes. So that's an exaggerated capacity. In fact, this one plus 32 gigabytes is quite strange. Xiaomi has called it Ultra Space. I guess it will be an even faster storage area, but I don't have the exact figure. The 256 model has another 8 gigabytes of Ultra Space. The 512 gigabyte model has another 16 gigabytes of Ultra Space, but in this 1 tera model we have 32 gigabytes of Ultra Space. Of course, in the review I'm going to tell you more details of how this Ultra Space feature works. Finally, the processor is the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus with the Immortalis G720 MC12 GPU. In fact, this processor also has an NPU to be able to process artificial intelligence stuff. However, it seems that Xiaomi still does not take advantage of it because although the device does have some artificial intelligence features, several of them will be processed in the cloud. So one of the new artificial intelligence features that this device will have will be Circle to Search, which was previously only for Samsung. However, today that the device has just been presented, the option is not yet available. They claim that it will be available from October 6, so we can't test it or show it. However, it also has an interpreter function, which by the way came very hidden. You had to add it from the quick settings list, but I've already added it and here it is. It is not available as an application, which I find very strange because it would be much easier to access it through some icon on the main screen. But by accessing it here, we are going to be able to have this translator, which honestly is not the greatest wonder because it needs an internet connection, so it's like any other translation application. You can select the languages, you can speak, you can change the view so that one person sees a language on this side and the other person sees their own language on the other side. It's an application that works well, but it needs an internet connection, so I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it. This device will also have an artificial intelligence video generator. As you will notice, you press the button, it will do an analysis of the photos or videos you have selected, although it also requires internet connection. And honestly, it takes quite a long time to analyze these pictures, and I guess if I select videos, it's gonna take even longer. So let's keep waiting for this device to finish. Well, it took too long, but in the end it said plugin downloaded successfully. So it looks like it was actually downloading a plugin. So let's reselect this option and finally it accesses. So in this artificial intelligence editor, you can just put in some simple text prompt. I'm going to type in nature photography, well, better nature photographs. You select the proportion that you want your video to have, and finally you could also select intelligent centering of people if there are videos or pictures that contain people. In this case, I don't have any of that. So let's press the create button, and now it will do the analysis of these images or videos that you have selected. It doesn't take as long as it took to download the plugin, but let's wait for it to finish. The truth of the matter is that the plugin, from my point of view, should already be installed if it is a function that is being announced as one of the main novelties. But well, let's wait, and I'll get back to you when this is done, because it seemed to be going fast, but it's stalled at 80%. And well, the truth is it took about 3 to 5 minutes and the result was pretty straightforward. We'll test it in more depth in the review, but it just looks like a simple slideshow with simple transitions. I thought it was going to at least add some nature animations or something similar, but basically it's just a slideshow of the photos and that's it. I insist in the video review we are going to do a little more intense test. Notice that it brings several templates placed here. Possibly it took time to download the template, I don't know, but it took a long time and the result looks basic to me. I don't see much artificial intelligence yet. But well, I'll be sharing more information with you soon. Finally, let me share with you now the benchmark results. In Geekbench, in single core it obtained 2,115 points and in multi-core 6,926 points, showing that it is indeed a powerful processor but still not the most powerful today, but it is definitely very good. In fact, on single core it probably can indeed sneak into the top 3 of the most powerful processors I've tested, and in Antutu it also did quite well with its Immortalis GPU. It gave us the score of 2,017,010 points. I think it's very powerful in all these aspects, so it's going to be a device that's going to have very high performance for sure. The power is not going to be lacking, the pictures with everything that has to do with Leica will be quite attractive. And we'll see in the review how it does with all the other aspects. For now we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can let us know, and we'll see you next time. Birawasin.